Rule number 77. A clause showing purpose has a verb in the subjunctive and is introduced by ut, ne, a relative pronoun, or adverb. Purpose in Latin can be construed in multiple ways. We could use the gerund or gerundive with the prepositions ad, causa, or gratia, as we've seen in Rule 73, or the accusative supine, and that's Rule 74. But the most common has to be a purpose clause, introduced by ut, etc., and using a verb in the subjunctive. A purpose clause usually answers the question why, as in why was the main clause done? And so let's see this in action. Hannibal ad Italiam venit, ut Romanos destruerat. Hannibal came to Italy to destroy the Romans. Our purpose clause here is ut Romanos destruerat, and it tells us the reason why Hannibal came to Italy. Note the ut and the imperfect subjunctive verb, and in fact there are many different ways we can translate this clause into English, so that he might destroy, in order that he might destroy, in order to destroy, or even so he could destroy. You can usually go with what sounds natural to you. Ab aratro abduxerunt cincinnatum, ut dictator esset. They took Cincinnatus from his plow so that he could be dictator. The reason why they took Cincinnatus from his plow is answered by the purpose clause. To make a negative purpose clause, we use ne instead of ut, so let's change this last one just a little bit. Ne Roma vinceretur. Now the reason why they took Cincinnatus away is so that Rome would not be conquered, or lest Rome be conquered. One more. Ne milites oppidum irrumperent, portas obstruit. So that the soldiers would not break into the town, he barricaded the gates. The negative purpose of the barricading of the gates is described by our ne purpose clause. As we dive into subordinate clauses, we will discover a lot of different ones that are introduced by ut or ne. A purpose clause is just one of many, but in my experience, it's one of the most common and most important ones that begin with these conjunctions. Latin can show purpose with clauses not introduced by ut or ne. A relative clause with a verb in the subjunctive can show purpose. Amicus mittitur qui locum perspiciat. My friend is sent to examine the place, or who should examine the place. We can see that the qui refers to the friend, and yet with the verb perspiciat in the subjunctive, we can feel the sense of purpose with this clause. And note that we initially translated the qui as to, rather than who, which further shows the idea of purpose. Miset legatos qui dicerent. He sent ambassadors to say, or who would say, followed by their intended statement. The subjunctive dicerent tells us that the relative clause here expresses a purpose rather than a general description of the ambassadors and why they were sent. Scribebat orationes quas alii dicerent. He was writing speeches so that others would say them, or for others to deliver, or even literally, which others would say. The quas here refers to orationes, but our subjunctive verb dicerent tells us that this relative clause isn't referring to a real description of these speeches. They are ones that others did deliver, but that the writer planned for others to deliver them. The subjunctive speaks to a hoped for and intended, but as of the writing, not yet real event. In Latin could also use ubi and other words of location or motion to show purpose with the subjunctive. Amicus quaerebat locum ubi sederet. My friend was looking for a place to sit, or where he might sit. From the context, we can see that the purpose of looking for the place was to sit there, and the subjunctive sederet shows a hoped for and intended rather than a real event. Thus, rule number 77. A clause showing purpose has a verb in the subjunctive and is introduced by ut, ne, a relative pronoun, or adverb.